determine what you're doing there.
And why haven't we done that? Because you said
That's trustees' decision.
because
I don't manage that project. I have to ask them.
We can't make a decision on that because the money, it had cannot been in your budget. The Station 59 was in your budget. It is, the money that you want to spend at Station 59 does not match the requirements of that funding. If we go ahead and do that, we're going to be in legal trouble, number one. Number two, the money is Station 59, so we started that project a couple years before that, and we got a bid from All American, I can't remember the exact, I don't remember the vendor. Gives us a bid of 16 and a half to redo, take one bathroom and make it 2 bathrooms. And then, so we started to do the work ourselves. We had trustees that stopped us doing that because we didn't have the permits. So we didn't do it, and then all of a sudden we get a bid for $48,000 and some change that you guys wouldn't agree to. How did the same structure go from $16,500 to $48,000 and some change? Then what are we going to do? That's why, that's the only thing that's left of the COVID money.
For the record, trustees, I did not and do not spend the money. It's your decision, you vote on it. Second of all, the bid at $16,000 was never vetted. It was never vetted. The bid received from another firm was $64,000, and it was over the $50,000 threshold in the Ohio Revised Code. So the $48,000 met that criteria, and trustees moved forward on that bid. That's what trustees did in a legal meeting. So
2 trustees, yes.
it doesn't matter.
That's right.
That's the law. So trustees, that issue is separate. The issue you did was you hired a firm at the last meeting to manage both programs. They cannot begin managing anything without receipt of all documentation from the fiscal officer.
You cannot manage 2020 funds in 2021. That money is already gone. So there's no use of talking about COVID, whether they voted or not. You cannot manage 2020 funds.
Trustees, I have the floor.
The deadline was 31 December
The
2020.
federal government gave an extension.
The deadline was still 2020. Doesn't matter whether they gave
They gave
an
an extension for the expenditure of the money and the documentation of the money
only
to the end of 2021. This is from the grant writer, this is from the FEMA Rep Region 4. I talked to them directly. So I don't listen to anything else but what the experts say.
That's what's the problem
So
is. I'm the fiscal officer, trustee.
Trustees,
And I know how you spend funding, and you cannot spend 2020 funds in 2021. Only thing you can do, you can't allocate that money to anything else. You can spend them in 2021, but you can't do anything else with them. Since they've already been allocated in 2020, you either have to spend them for what you allocated for, or you have to send the money back or find another way to spend it on something else.
The grant writer disagrees with that.
The grant writer's not here to prove that.
They carry the insurance and they carry 19 years of
The grant writer has no experience
I'm
as
not
a
here to
fiscal
argue with
officer.
trustees.
Nobody's arguing, I'm stating the facts. You're not telling the truth. I'm the fiscal officer, not you.
I didn't say I was.
Yeah, I know it, so then you don't need to speak.
I have the floor, trustees.
Now, I don't care, you still don't need to speak in place of the fiscal officer.
Trustees, do I have the floor?
Continue, Mr. Wolf.
You asked me about the grant writer, and I told you the facts. They do not have any paperwork to manage what you hired them to do.
Well, then I have to get it. You hired them, get it.
So would you like me to go to prosecuting attorney about?
Might as well, we take everything else to legal.
Yeah, you might as well pay them with the citizens' money.
If Tracy disagrees with something, she just loses the
That's it,
paperwork.
no, you're paying all the citizens' money on legal fees that you guys can handle in-house.
Gentlemen, the county prosecutor has no charge.
You're not going to the county prosecutor.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. You're using a sturdy Dowling Turner, or in some cases, a trustee is using Ice Miller. I have all the bills to prove.
Trustees, you told me to go to the prosecuting attorney. That's where I'm going. And I'll report back.
Good.
Again, I like to state, you only have 30 more days to apply for that fund. It takes at least 10 to 15 days to get approval for that funding, so that puts you down to about 15 or 20 days to apply for that money. So that means in 2 meetings, you have to make a decision. At least, at the very latest. You have one more meeting this month, and you have one in September. No, you don't even have 2 meetings, you have one more meeting to make the decision.
By law, you also have the option of special meeting and emergency meeting, trustees.
All right, any other new business, trustees?
Well, since it was brought up, I'm curious, I saw a check in there for, if I remember right, $700 and some change to a previous legal firm we used a couple years ago to talk about the audit. And to me, I'm just curious why we as a group are spending $700 with another legal firm. We can't talk to the people downtown and they're free. Why do we spend $700 with a legal outfit to talk about the audit?
I think that's a 2-year-old bill you're talking about. You got a copy of it?
No, I don't. I saw a check.
So
It's
you
brand
want
new
to throw
check.
daggers in meetings? That's
It's
an
in
old
the
bill.
mailbox, because you guys haven't signed it, it's sitting there in the mailbox. You can go.
That actually had to do with your fiscal integrity.
No, it didn't, it said clearly,
Yes,
it clearly said audit on it. It was totally different. We've already paid that bill over a year ago. That was audit
Well,
issues. It clearly
I'd
said
like to
audit.
see a copy of the invoice, because.
Well, go
we
sign
haven't
the
worked
check, if
this
you would
long in
sign,
2 years.
if you would sign the invoice, the warrants, you would see those types of things. But you don't go and sign those warrants.
Any other new business, trustees? Okay.
So, yeah, I guess I do. What street is that? So I've had some phone calls, on, back when I was on roads, I know we were looking at this. So I was looking at that, looking at the lots and looking at grass, it's high grass, kind of just driving the township, you know, doing my job as trustee. And I was looking at 51 Fortman, but I got out of the truck to look at the mowing job and that stuff, and there's water running down the gutter of the street. And being from the world of water, man, somebody's got a water leak. We need to see who's paying for water they're not using. So I look at the yard and I go up and walk up the gutter, and I see a catch basin that's overflowing. And the homeowner is sitting on the front porch. I talked to the gentleman, and he says he's tried to reach out to the township. The township told him it belonged to the county told him it belonged to the city, blah, blah, blah. It's a catch basin in front of 5133 Fortman. It belongs to Jefferson Township. We need to take care of this stuff, guys, instead of just mowing grass. Where do we stand on 5100 Derby? I know the last time we had a meeting a couple meetings ago, the resident that lived next door was complaining about that. I went and looked at it. It is, she mows the front yard, the backyard is bad. They talked about it in some of their meetings. In the last meeting, Mr. Wolf told me that they had started the paperwork. You know where we stand with that, Steve?
Yeah, well, they're starting the paperwork, but trustees, I spent an hour and 20 minutes roughly on the phone with this young lady. Had a long talk with her. Those houses, one in front of her and one behind her, one on Derby, one on Blue Packet, have been vacant for over 20 years. And she's quite frustrated with all the staff prior till now that weren't even calling her back, giving her any help. 20 years of vacant homes. Now, what we did, and Justin and I did, is, and we're doing this with her, we're going to reach out and try to help the young lady. It's not a problem that just happened. 20 years ago, many employees, many trustees, and they never resolved it. So you can't resolve these things today.
Okay.
No one knows the ownership of either home.
She
As
told
of
me
today.
she knew the lady passed. She told me she knew the family that owned it. Some of the families lived in the house from time to
Well,
time.
we've
She
done-
told me that she knew the lady that owned it.
but we've done research and it's not right. She did die, but no one knows who the probate owner is. So that's not true, and she agreed with me after I showed her and I told her on the phone all the things that we've gotten so far in research. So there's no money today to tear down those homes. Second thing, and I want the residents to have this on the record, when you mow the property, that ends the code enforcement, it's over. So no matter who owns a property, if they mow it, the complaint is over and we have to wait on the next complaint. We're not allowed to voluntarily go after it. She didn't know that.
Has it been mowed?
It's been mowed.
Backyard has not been mowed.
There's no requirement on Ohio Revised Code to mow the backyard.
So we only mow front yards?
No,
We charge.
Mike, listen,
Yeah, listen.
I'm still talking, please. She mowed the front yard for 10 years. But no matter what, if that's the complaint, and she mows it, it's been taken care of by somebody, and we don't interrogate who they are. So legally, we reached out to the prosecuting attorney, said, what do we do? And they said, well, she's been mowing it, you didn't have any obligation, no legal obligation, nor the right to go onto the property because somebody was maintaining it. So I told her, after that long talk, that we are gonna start out and try to get her some help. Try to see if there's any land bank help out there. But we're trying to help her, not put blame anywhere, because there is no blame.
Okay. Well, thank you. I just
And the
asked
other
you-
thing is, I wanna know why that wasn't brought to us after you and your wife visited with them.
I did bring it.
You didn't send an email, you didn't call right away.
I
We
brought it up
we're
at the next
gonna
meeting.
find it.
I
No,
brought it
you
up at
did
the next
not.
meeting. Yes, I
She told me
did.
when
Yes,
you
I
were
did
there.
bring it up at the next meeting,
She
Steve
told me when
Wolf.
she was there.
I brought it up at the next meeting, Steve
Well,
Wolf.
sir, you did not.
Yes, I did.
Well, I'm gonna tell you.
Check the records.
Plus, you're over nuisance. You should have stayed there and tried to work through the nuisances because her complaints are nuisance. The land bank is strictly somewhere we might go to be able to tear down a building, but your job is nuisance. And instead, you told her to call Mr. Mann, which Mr. Mann called me right away, and I got out there. And I called her. But I didn't hear nothing from you. You're in
Yeah,
charge of
you
nuisance. So
think
there's,
about part of the
there's
conversation?
animals, there's
I
animals.
can't talk, can I?
No, I still have the floor.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
There's animals, there's rodents, she says, and we want to help her. But you should have helped her that day.
Well, I should have.
Yeah, because you're over nuisance. But we can only do what we're told. And Mr. Mann called us and said, get on it right away, and we did. So I'm saying to you, you needed to know the history, and if you would have called me, you would have got the history about the laws.
You don't ever answer your phone.
Oh, that's so full of crap.
Yeah, you are full of crap.
But on top of it,
Okay, anyway, we're making progress on it. Thank you very much.
So everything is turned in and zoning's aware of this, I'll go to the file on it. Okay. We got a trustee that can't even follow the procedures for the department he's supposed to be running. So, any other new business? Mrs. McLaughlin, I'm sure you've got a stack of something for us.
You got a trustee that doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
Any other new business?
not for me.
Mr. Mann?
No.
Okay, we're done with new business resolutions. So we're just gonna have a resolution where we're at.
You don't know? It's 51. You know everything else.
Okay. Resolution 20-051, the Jefferson Township Board of Trustees hereby recognize Willie Andrew Terrell, Sr. in celebration of his 91st birthday. Whereas Mr. Willie Andrew Terrell has been a resident of Jefferson Township for 61 years. Mr. Terrell's been engaged passionately pursuing his mission to provide community outreach projects and food drives within Jefferson Township community. Whereas Mr. Terrell has been married to his lovely wife Hazel for close to 71 years and joyfully raising 6 children in his family. Mr. Terrell serves as an usher at First Baptist Church of Ridgewood Heights and served as a cook for many elder Beerman Thanksgiving meals for the community on Thanksgiving days. Whereas Mr. Terrell has been awarded the position of Silver Life member of the NAACP, therefore be resolved in celebration of Mr. Willie Andrew Terrell Sr.'s 91st birthday and service provided to Jefferson Township community. Jefferson Township trustees recognize Mr. Terrell as a shining star in the community. Move to adopt resolution 2051.
Second.
Any questions, trustees? How are we presenting this proclamation?
The family said that they would, as they did for their mother some time ago, a couple of years ago, they would just come get it. But I offered to deliver it to their home.
Okay. Roll call, Ms. Edwards.
Trustee McGuire.
Yes.
Trustee Mann.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Ms. Edwards has a copy, the master copy that you need to sign, both the resolution and the proclamation.
Okay.
Has it been approved?
Yes.
I need you to sign 2, the resolution and the proclamation of the Greenfield. Yeah, you can sign the proclamation on that one. That one's fine. I'm saying that Mr. Manuel have to sign the second page. Did you sign the first one?
No, I just need to pass back down here.
What was that one you just signed? Did I give you guys the wrong one?
It's the mount.
Yeah, give me that one back, I got the wrong one. Or you can hold on to it. I gotta change the number.
Pass it back.
Now, the other thing's okay, just the one. Just the-
You work back, work back there. Pretty fast.
You done?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, resolution number 2052. Jefferson Township Board of Trustees hereby welcome Pastor Leroy Hines Anthony and his installation as pastor of the Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church. Whereas Pastor Leroy Hines Anthony is being installed as the new pastor on August 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Whereas Pastor Leroy Hines Anthony will be engaging passionately, pursuing the mission to provide community outreach projects within the Jefferson Township community. The Jefferson Township community welcomes the family of Pastor Leroy Hines Anthony to the community and a hope for great prosperity. Whereas Pastor Leroy Hines Anthony will guide his congregation in the name of the Lord and faithfully serve his church membership in the community as well. Whereas Pastor Leroy Hines Anthony will follow the vision of Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church that is rooted in the Word of God and prayer, and to prepare disciples to carry out the redemptive ministry of Christ in the Jefferson Township neighborhoods. Therefore, now be resolved, the Jefferson Township Board of Trustees hereby welcome Pastor Leroy Hines Anthony and his installation as pastor of the Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church. Move to adopt 21-052.
Second.
Any questions, trustees? There's another proclamation of this. Roll call, Ms. Edwards.
Trustee Mann,
Yes.
trustee McLaughlin,
Yes.
trustee McGuire.
Passes 3-0.
Say yes, right?
Yes.
This one is the right one for the first one. You guys don't have to sign the second one because you already signed it. That's the one for 51, you already signed 52.
Oh, so these here?
Yeah, no. I'm giving you that.
Oh,
Right
gotcha.
here, just
Oh,
sign
okay,
that.
okay, I got you.
Now, here's the proclamation of the resolution.
The first one.
Right, the second one.
No.
That was the first. I already have the second one here. Thank you.
Okay, resolution number 21-053, the Jefferson Township Board of Trustees do hereby accept the resignation of Robert Griffin effective immediately. Move to adopt 21-053.
I'll second the motion.
Engineer, questions?
Why can't his resignation letter be attached to the
You
issue?
should have one in your mailbox.
I do have one in my mailbox. I do have one in my mailbox. I asked the question, why can't it be attached to the resolution?
Because it's an HR issue, it has to stay protected in the file.
How's it an HR issue? It's not, has nothing to do with,
Yes, it does.
I read the letter. How's it an HR issue? Leave on file when.
Call the
when,
attorney.
I got the floor. Leave on file, when Sexton, his resignation letter is on file. We've done it in the past, what, so you're saying that you can't do it because it's an HR issue?
Correct, it stays in the file.
Okay, so exactly why did we buy a new, gas-powered chop saw?
What does this have to do with the resolution, Mr. McLaughlin? You had a chance to bring that up in your business. Point of order. It sounds like you had something to do with his resignation.
No.
No, I resigned because of you.
Okay,
Any other discussion?
we're gonna have a closeout interview with him. issue of roads there, Mr. Wolf, you're gonna have a closeout interview with him.
I will.
I'm sorry?
I will, sir. I will for 3 trustees.
Roll call, please.
I didn't get the motion.
I made the first, Mr. Mann made the second.
Trustee Mann,
Yes.
trustee McGuire,
Yes.
trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee.
All right, 21-054. Resolution approving the 2021 transfer of funds totaling $978. This is from Fund Code 2111 220 259 0903 to 2111 220 323 000. Do you want to add anything to this disbursement, Ms. Edwards?
No.
Move to adopt 21-052.
Second.
Mr. Malone. Any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Edwards.
Trustee McGuire.
Yes.
Trustee Mann,
Yes.
trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, that concludes resolutions, departmental reports. Looks like we don't have anybody from the sheriff's.
In your packets, though, there is an invitation that the residents and you trustees and fiscal officer, you can testify in the name of the recertification for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. Every so many periods, they are part of what they call COLEAP, which is basically the certification, the highest certification a police department can have. And Montgomery County Sheriffs have maintained this COLEA for many, many years. So out on in the posting board in the lobby, it's available for the residents to read the date and time. You can call in, or you can go in person to Harrison Township where they're hosting it this year. We hosted it here about 3 years ago at one business park, and they moved that hearing around. So anyone that wants to talk about the county sheriff's office can go to one of those forums.
Have they passed?
It's
already passed.
Have they done it already?
Yes,
Okay.
it's today. Well, when did you get this?
That, like, as soon as I posted it,
Yeah, so it
after our last
happened today.
meeting.
It happened at 4 o'clock today.
Okay.
And that, and it was Monday, to be able to input at, one.
I sent it out to everybody by email, because Andy sent it to me, and then I posted it right away in the lobby,
I didn't know the copy.
so. Anyways, that will conclude their inspection, and we'll see what happens. That's all of the sheriff. The only other thing I do want to bring up, Andy and I worked pretty heavily on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Many of you don't know, but there was a portion of a movie shot in Jefferson Township. And so Andy had to supply officers. We as a township had to contract with the film company in order to hire the officers. So we worked very closely, and things changed on a minute-by-minute basis throughout all last week, so that we could at least give them what they were requesting. And so the township's being reimbursed for expenses plus a service fee of 5% for our management fee, for their share of the movie. They drove Manning Road to Diamond Mill Road to Dayton Farmersville. And that's because their big wide angle lens trucks were so wide, they had to, because they had a different route originally. And they changed it on Saturday morning when Andy and I were on the phone forever with them. So, that movie they do not have a date that it's going to be released, but if it does occur, we'll let everybody know when that time comes. It's called Monica, Monica, and it's the first time, according to what they call Film Dayton, who contracts all the films to make movies in Montgomery County. They said it's the first time they have on record that Jefferson Township was chosen as a site. So that's really exciting that they picked your streets to be able to film a part of the movie. But we'll see when or if the movie becomes fruition.
So if the movie doesn't, we don't get money, or we get money?
No, because it's Montgomery County roads.
So we don't get any money?
We'll get 5% service charge on that.
Okay, so the reason I asked is because I guess the trustees, when the money comes in, they need to decide where you want to put that money.
Right.
It's not gonna be a lot of money, but we made sure we at least got a little bit of money for the township, so. And then full reimbursement from the sheriff's office. So, that's all.
Okay, zoning report.
Thank you. In the month of July, I issued one new zoning certificate for 3465 South Union Road for a solar panel array or a single family residence. I continue to learn the geography of the township. I appreciate and am grateful for the patience from both staff and the citizens of Jefferson Township. Basically, as I hit the pavement and learn where everything is and learn the backstories and the history of all the different complaints and properties that we have. In that, continue to cover for Officer McKee's absence, in code enforcement, doing code enforcement and zoning inspections, issuing notices of violation for both zoning and for the property maintenance code. The Board of Zoning Appeals will be meeting on August 19th, 2021 to consider a conditional use application for retail automobile sales located at 6218 West